Before you scroll away, imagine this for just 1 second. A tired single father sits in a quiet room, holding a document that promises $2 million if he simply reads it, not signs it, not agrees to it, just reads it. If this story touches your heart even a little, remember to like the video and subscribe, because stories like this deserve to be shared with people who still believe kindness can change lives. Armin was the kind of man people never noticed. He woke up before sunrise, packed lunchboxes with shaky hands, and kissed his sleeping son's forehead every morning before heading to work. Since his wife passed away 3 years ago, life had turned into a routine of survival. He worked as a night shift security guard and took small freelance jobs during the day, just enough to keep the lights on and his son, Ayan, in school. He never complained, not because life was easy, but because Ayan's smile made the pain quieter. One rainy evening, Armin was called into a glass building that touched the clouds. He almost turned back at the door, thinking it must be a mistake. Men like him didn't belong in places like this. Inside, everything smelled of money and power. He was led into a massive office where a billionaire named Victor Hale waited, his sharp eyes studying Armin like a puzzle. Victor didn't greet him warmly. He didn't smile. He simply slid a thick document across the table and said, "I will pay you $2 million if you read this document." Out loud, Armin froze. His first thought was that this was some kind of joke. His second thought was of Ayan's school fees. His third thought was fear. "Sir," he said softly, "I don't understand. Why me?" Victor leaned back, his voice cold. "Because you were recommended as someone who reads carefully, and because you have nothing to lose." Armin swallowed and picked up the document. The room was silent except for the rain hitting the windows. As he began reading, his voice trembled. The document wasn't legal text. It was a confession, a letter written by Victor himself years ago, addressed to a woman named Eliza. It spoke of ambition, betrayal, and a child he never acknowledged. It spoke of choosing power over people and money over love. As Armin read, something strange happened. His voice grew steadier. His eyes softened. He didn't just read the words, he felt them. He paused at certain lines, his breath catching, as if the pain on the page reminded him of his own losses. He read about regret, about a man who climbed to the top only to realize he had no one to share the view with. Victor's expression changed. For the first time in years, his mask cracked. "Stop," he said suddenly. Armin looked up, confused. "I'm sorry, sir. Did I read something wrong?" "No," Victor whispered. "You read it exactly right." That was when the door opened and a woman walked in. She was elegant, calm, with eyes that carried quiet strength. Her name was Mira, Victor's personal assistant. But she was more than that. She was the one who had suggested Armin. Mira looked at Armin and then at Victor. "He reminds you of who you were before," she said gently. "That's why you're shocked." Victor stood up slowly. "Why does his voice sound honest?" he asked, almost angrily. "Why does it hurt when he reads my words?" Mira stepped closer. "Because he's lived them. He lost someone he loved. And yet he chose responsibility over bitterness." Armin felt uncomfortable, like he was standing in the middle of something too big. "Sir," he said, "if you want me to stop, I will. I don't need the money." Victor stared at him in disbelief. "You don't need $2 million. Armin smiled sadly. "I need time with my son. I need peace at night. Money helps, but it doesn't heal everything." Those words hit Victor harder than any insult ever had. He had spent his life buying silence, loyalty, and control. No one had ever spoken to him like that. Victor nodded. "Finish reading," he said quietly. When Armin reached the final page, the room felt heavy. The document ended with one sentence. "If you are reading this, it means I finally had the courage to face the man I became." Victor wiped his eyes and turned away. "The money is yours," he said, "but that's not why I called you." He looked at Mira. "Find Eliza, and find the child." Mira smiled softly, relief washing over her face. "I already did," she said. "The child is grown now. She's a school teacher. She doesn't know who her father is." Victor closed his eyes. For the first time, fear replaced pride. "Then I want to meet her. Not as a billionaire, as a man who made mistakes." Armin stood up, unsure if he should leave. Victor stopped him. "Wet," he said. "You taught me something today." Armin shook his head. "I just read words." "No," Victor replied. "You gave them meaning." Mira walked Armin to the elevator. "You didn't just change his night," she said. "You changed his life." Armin hesitated. "Why did you really bring me here?" Mira looked at him, her voice sincere. "Because I lost my father when I was young. He was a single dad too. When I heard about you, I knew you were the right person." The elevator doors closed, and Armin went home that night with a check that could change his future. But more importantly, he went home lighter. He hugged Ion a little tighter and realized that dignity, honesty, and love had more power than money ever could. Weeks later, Victor set up a foundation for single parents. Mira left her job to run it, and Armin, he used part of the money to open a small reading center for kids who couldn't afford books. Reading stories aloud every weekend, his voice calm and full of warmth. If this story moved you, if it reminded you that real wealth is measured in character, not cash, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Because sometimes, all it takes to change a life is someone brave enough to read the truth out loud.